Good morning and welcome back, everybody. It is Sunday upper deck time. I'm Lynn. Right next to me is Ciarra, and it's been a minute. Ciarra, how you doing?
I'm good. I guess my brain is ready to jump back into baseball. I turned it off once the Yankees, disappointed us yet again. But I mean, here we are. So, how are
Yeah,
you?
it still lingers. It still lingers, doesn't it?
I
It
mean,
hasn't quite.
watching two of our rivals put on like the best World Series probably in my lifetime was just from a baseball fan perspective, it was incredible to watch. But as a Yankee fan, I was just like, wow. And Brian Cashman continues to sell us a line of BS every season. And these guys just won a full 7 games. The Blue Jays had it; it was in their grasp. And stupid Miguel Rojas, just like the guy you don't expect. It wasn't the big name, is the one that won the World Series for the Dodgers. So it was, yeah.
And I love a Cinderella moment. Who doesn't? Way back when it was Aaron Boone Burns. What the hell? When it was him during the championship, that was like a real Cinderella moment for him. And then what? Well, we know what, but
We're
that's a
stuck.
whole other thing. So yeah, I really did not think I'd be watching this World Series. I was adamant that nope, got better things to do, more fish to fry. I got drawn in because even in my lifetime, which we all know goes back to when brontosauruses ruled the earth. This is in my top 3 of best World Series that I in my memory. So this was good, nail biting baseball, and so and I gotta say, I was rooting for the Dodgers only because I had 2 choices, and Vladdy was not going to get any of my good juju, and yet Don Mattingly was always in the front of mind for me. So I was just so until the very end, until game. Of course, it had to go to game 7. I mean, it just had all of the trappings of good baseball, and why people could go where and get kicked in their own what, who say baseball is such a boring sport. Then you don't know baseball at all, because this was anything but boring. And so good to see our friends back in the chat. I hope you all had a good nap. I hope you're ready for gathering around the hot stove, y'all. Yep, that's what we're going to be doing for the next many weeks. And let me just do a little attendance. Jonathan with his first attendee award. Good to see you. FJ, good to see you. And Shayna, little ray of sunshine. Are you going to keep it going for us in this cold, cold season? Yankee Dave, good to see you. Healing Men Heart. Uncle Tats is in the house. Hey, Uncle Tats. Jordan, good to see you. And let's just get rolling on. So first thing we have to get to is some news. So in the news, hey, the Yankees got this American League Offensive Team of the Year award, which was a really big deal. Does this come objectively as a surprise to us in any way?
No, but it frustrates me because all year long, and I hate how negative I've become in the last season, but all year long, those super overly positive Yankees fans just kept saying the Yankees have a X amount of run differential compared to the rest of the league. And I'm sitting there like that's great, but they can't field the ball. They have no pitching. They're losing games for stupid reasons. They can't beat the Red Sox. They can't beat the Blue Jays. Tell me how this helps in any way possible.
Right.
But I mean, good for them, I guess.
Yeah. To me, this really just says they are half winners. Maybe there's no all-around Team of the Year award. I'm guessing there isn't, but that's as a real difficult Yankee fan, I think, is okay. So great. That's true. Statistically, it is true. But I'm so glad that we don't have to talk about who the defensive team is. I wish that we won both of them. So here's what we did. a team for Silver Slugger. So let's take a look at these numbers for a second. So the team as a whole for their Silver Slugger award, 251 average seems low to me.
Because it is, but I've been told by the Gen Zers, I'm old now apparently. I've been told by the Gen Zers that batting average does not matter. So just do with that information as you will. I think 274 home runs, while it's fun to watch, like obviously you go to a baseball game, you want to see Aaron Judge hit a home run, right? Like that is something everybody wants to see. My issue is, and we talked about this last season, is it feels like it's a lot of times it's home run or bust with this team, right? We're not hitting for contact. We're not doing situational hitting. Like that is my issue with this right here, because it's like, oh yeah, congratulations, the Yankees are the Bronx Bombers again, but you can't win important games.
Yeah, and FJ and Healing Men's Heart are both saying, what are these Gen Zers talking about? Batting average absolutely matters. So is the younger generation pivoting away from statistics? Because
they're using more of the advanced statistics versus, and I think there's a time and a place for both. But the problem is we're getting away from watching with our eyes and seeing like, okay, the Yankees clearly aren't hitting when there's runners in scoring position, and going more towards, well, he hit the ball hard this amount of times and he just got unlucky. Like, no, they just need to put the ball in play. Like,
yes. And so I'm with you on the home runs, because great, it's a respectable number on its face. But that's when we lucked out with our swings at the plate. I am still what's still in my craw is I'd love to see the counter to this and have like a, broken sluggers award for team with the highest first strike, first pitch, because this team would win that on, for the entire MLB, as far as I'm concerned, with no stats to back that up. If there's one thing I want to wish for, well, I guess I'm exaggerating, which I tend to do. It is my biggest pet peeve. I think I've said that repeatedly at every opportunity. So it's not surprising at all. We hit for power, which is our blessing and our curse in so many ways. It's a blessing because look at that number there. It's a curse because we have guys getting injured because they're pressing for power all the time. And the strikeout rates. I'd love to see the opposite of what these numbers are and how they correlate. RBIs, that's dynamite. So, and I tend to agree that Uncle Tats and Healing Men said this is an empty award. And so Tats is saying that they're the first to complain if a batter is hitting 200. Going by their rules, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in terms about the batting average thing. So then we're just going to go through award season, because it's been award season this week. So there's no contest here, right? So Aaron Judge got his 5th career Silver Slugger award. Then we have first timer DJ Jazzy Jazz got the Silver Slugger award. Surprised, Ciarra? Deserved?
Since all of this is based on regular season, yes, I think Jazz deserved this award. We got to witness a 30-30 season, which we haven't watched as a Yankee in, a while. We're talking going back to like Ruben Ciarra. Shout out to him. I love his name.
I feel like it's a car name too, the Ciarra. The Ciarra.
It is. But like, Jazz is very exciting to watch, and I love watching him play. Going into 2026, my only ask for him is that he shows up when it matters, like playoff time, and he just becomes a little bit more clutch. I feel like a lot of his home runs came when the Yankees had a big lead. Like it wasn't ever a clutch moment. It wasn't like, a Bellinger moment or an Aaron Judge moment. But with that being said, I do think it was deserved, and he was fun to watch.
Completely fun to watch. And yet I think Healing Men's Heart has a bit of a
yeah, and I think that's where I differ from a lot of people. Is there sometimes where I'm like, okay, Jazz, you need to relax? Yeah, sure. But I love the cockiness of Jazz Chisholm. I love the cockiness from guys like Vlad Guerrero Jr. Like that. If you know you're a good baseball player, as long as you can back it up, do it. Like, obviously, I understand why people got frustrated with Marcus Stroman because it got to the point where I was like, you're running your mouth, but you're not backing it up. But, like, if you are running your mouth and you can go out there and hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases, then, yeah, whatever. I'm with you. But I just need you to show up in the playoffs.
Oh, Ciarra, you and I need a new segment called Point Counterpoint because you and me going head to head about Vladdy Jr.
Listen, I would have loved Vladdy Jr. in pinstripes. I think he would have been a huge difference maker for this team. Yep. However, he made his feelings clear about this team. And I also don't think the Yankees would have ever went after him anyway. But to me, a guy like that on this team would have made a huge difference because he plays good defense at first base and he gets on base. And listen, as chunky as he may be, that boy can run. So
he has wheels, and he did lose weight this season, and it paid off for him. I'd like him to eat more humble pie, non-caloric humble pie a little bit more often. So yeah, he needs to grow up. I try to remember that he's still a kid. But he's a dad, and I just hope he does right by his son, because this is not the way to be. He's a sore winner, and I was a sore loser. So like, I couldn't wait to tweet out, "The Blue Jays lose."
See, and I'm a fan of
tagging him in the tweet.
Huh? I'm a fan of the fun trolling when you don't make it personal, right? Like, it's a rivalry. I love that. The fact that he and Big Papi teamed up together to troll the Yankees, like, to me, that's okay. It's not okay when the Boston fans go after Cam Schlittler's parents. Like, that's where you can find it. Yeah. But what Guerrero did, I think it's fun, because when we get our lick back, we're going to do it right back, right? Just like Josh Naylor and rocking the baby, right? We'll get our lick back. It's okay.
He will never be my daddy. That's all I'm going to say. Vladdy will never be my daddy, even when, he is theoretically our daddy in some situations. Hey, Angelo, good to see you in the chat. Saw you come in. So, and Tats is saying that he likes Jazz, just better judgment. Yeah, exactly. Because I don't disagree with that.
I have to ask then, and this can be we can move on from the subject too, because this could take the whole conversation.
Yeah.
But if this is how everyone feels about Jazz, look, and I'm a fan of what Cam Schlittler is doing right now. Look at what Cam Schlittler is doing online right now. You have to hold everyone to the same standard. If we're not happy with how Jazz runs his mouth, we can't be okay with how Cam Schlittler does it. Because Cam Schlittler is online fighting with Blue Jays fans now. He went from Boston to Toronto overnight. So that's my only pushback on that, is we just have to hold everyone to the same standard.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be an episode of The Upper Deck without Jordan prodding you there, Ciarra.
I mean, he's right though. Listen, Goldschmidt was good for some of 2025, right? But look at the first base market and what could have been for the New York Yankees, right? There was other options out there. And while Goldie, like I said, there was times where I'm like, oh my God, I love this guy. But there was times where I'm like, oh, you can really see his age showing through now. Okay. It is what it is. The guy is 38 years old.
Yeah.
Morning, TC.
Yeah. Hey, TC, good to see you. All right. So let's move on. So many awards to go through. Max Fried, Gold Glove Award winner, Platinum Award finalist. So, look, we know that Fried had some sputtering, and we were muttering during the end of the regular into the post, but so well deserved. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know if voting is still open, but I hope you guys put a vote in for Platinum Glove for the guy. Let's keep him happy. All right, so let's talk a minute about the MVP finalist.
There is no
When is it
conversation.
getting announced? First of all,
There's
go
no
ahead.
conversation. He is the MVP. I don't care what Cal Raleigh did. I hate the fact that the media is now pushing regular season home runs plus postseason home runs to try to measure Cal Raleigh up against Aaron Judge. Do you know how pathetic that is? I understand that there's voter fatigue and they're sick and tired of voting for Aaron Judge because the same guy is doing it consistently. But like, that's not Aaron Judge's fault. Okay. He is a freak of nature. They kiss Ohtani's butt day in and day out. You give Judge the same respect. I'm sorry, but Cal Raleigh is not the MVP. You cannot add postseason home runs to the regular season conversation. That's not how this works.
You know what's funny? We're forgetting that there's a third finalist, and his name is Jose Ramirez.
I do like J-Ram.
It's so funny though, because is anyone even thinking about J-Ram?
No, J-Ram's not even thinking about J-Ram. He's probably like, why am I even in this category?
Can you imagine what would happen if it is J-Ram? I don't see a world where that's going to happen, but look at the world. So maybe they're like, oh, we don't want to get into this rally Judge thing. But yeah, I don't think we'd have to worry about that. So just a couple of other quick news items I wanted to share. So on Friday, Garrett Cole had a 25-pitch bullpen outing at Yankee Stadium. So I guess that is a good sign. But he has a long ways to go during the off season. So very happy to hear about that. And let's talk a minute about the Hall of Fame's committee nominations for the Hall of Fame and which Yankees are on it that are either running out of time or run out of time a while ago. So Don Mattingly, for example, the only part of my heart that was in it for the Blue Jays during the World Series was I want Donnie Baseball to have that ring, and he didn't get it, but he has a new shot now, and so does Gary Sheffield and Roger Clemens. But the rest of the list, if you haven't seen it, we could have a whole show about that too. So I'm not going to mention the names, but PED a go-go, ladies and gentlemen. And so I have some opinions about that. And if you're going to put, all right, I guess I'm going there a little bit. If you're going to put Barry Bonds on there and even the Rocket, then I want to see Andy Pettit's name up there too, because you can't have it both ways. We already lived through that with Big Papi and Pedro Martinez. So, Hall of Fame, get your act together and make a decision about this. PEDs or no PEDs. So that's the story there. I really hope this gets Donnie some something if he's not going to get a ring. I think Hall of Fame trumps that. So, but how do you feel about Sheffield and Clemens?
I mean, I don't care either way, if I'm being completely honest with you. I'm a big A-Rod should be in the Hall of Fame girl. So since I know that that's never going to happen, nothing else really matters to me. My guy Jeter's in, Mo's in, can't ask more. It is what it is.
There's some non-Yankees I agree with. I agree with Valenzuela being there, for example, but I'm eyes and heart all on Donnie Baseball for that.
Yeah.
Didn't mean step on you there.
We'll just wait and see what happens.
Exactly. And so going back to the trio of MVP. So if Cal wins, he'll be the first MVP to hit below 250. Yeah. The stats for stat, if you're going to go just based on that alone. Oh, that's interesting, FJ. So only 2 MVPs hit below 270. Oh, Ohtani.
Well, and it's interesting too because when Judge broke the home run record, the baseball writers said we can't vote him just based on home runs. But now they're flipping the script because Cal hit all these home runs and say that they want to vote him just based on home runs. You can't push the narrative when it's convenient for you, especially not in a year where Aaron Judge put up video game numbers from April through September. The guy never slowed down. He missed 10 days or whatever. he came back, and while he wasn't in the outfield, it was like he never missed a day at the plate. It was absolutely insane. So I feel like it's a slap in the face to Aaron Judge, to baseball fans, if he does not win the MVP. Now, next season, if Cal Raleigh puts up the same numbers, it's a different conversation, but we'll see then. Like right now, it's an Aaron Judge conversation.
And just like Hall of Fame, we don't know what the criteria is, and what's the deciding factor. We don't get that information for any of the big deals. We don't get that for Cy Young, or any of the winners there. And yeah, you're right, Tats. Let's say it out loud and proud. The media hates giving us credit for anything.
Yeah.
They're like, the evil empire. No, we're gonna anyone but them.
Before we move on to the next category too, I just wanted to touch quickly on the coaching changes for the Yankees, because I personally think that the whole coaching staff should be overturned, especially since the worst guy hasn't been fired yet. But if you guys have been keeping up, so right after the season ended, Mike Harkey from the bullpen was let go. Travis Chapman, first base coach, was let go. I do agree with that one, because I think first base and third base are more important than what people realize. So they were both let go. And then you got Luis Rojas, who I hate with a passion. He interviewed for the Orioles managerial job, and James Orlson interviewed for the Twins managerial job. Like he was already in the Twins system, so like that makes sense to me. And then Jake Hurst, this is my favorite one actually, because it's just funny to say. So he is a hitting coordinator in the minor leagues. He's been promoted to the 2026 staff, but does not have a job yet. Like it's a job to be named. Instead of a player to be named later, it's a job to be named later. So to me, that just shows how incredibly stupid the Yankees are when it comes to their coaching staff and the decisions they make. I truly believe they should just get rid of the entire coaching staff, in my opinion, and just start fresh, hold them all accountable, fire them all, including Aaron Boone, but we all know that's not going to happen. I am curious, though, to see if the way the bullpen is managed and ran is going to change with Mike Harkey no longer being there. Obviously, Matt Blake is still in the system, but it'll be interesting to see if they target different guys or change some things up.
What we really need is an ace reliever to be the bullpen coach. And one of recent memory connected to not necessarily the dynasty year, although I have some suggestions if it were from the dynasty years, but a known name in the business as a real stellar bullpen guy themselves. And when did we ever have that? I have a bad memory, but I don't remember when. So
well, I believe the Yankees did already hire a bullpen coach.
Okay. Street cred.
Desi Druschel. He was on the coaching staff before, and then he went to the Mets, and because we like to flip flop our guys. It's so weird the way the coaching staff in New York just like flip flops back and forth between the two organizations. So, but yeah.
Okay, so I don't know that name, so I'm guessing he's not in Cooperstown, and not like known as a hero reliever, but I obviously am not the know-it-all of it all, so I don't know. Andy Pettit isn't a reliever, but somebody of that caliber. You were certainly not ever going to get Mo, but Mo is a dream, right? But that's not going to happen. So hot stove topic here. So this is going to be something standing as we go through, but I'm sure as of now we could already answer this question. So what do we want versus what do we need? And there's a difference, everybody. There's our wish list, and there's okay, let's get down to being practical. What do we really need? Because we know who we're dealing with. We're dealing with, a wallet closed as tight as a clam. So let's go with what do you want versus what do we need. So
yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
You start.
So what I want is for Trent Grisham not to take the qualifying offer, just to start off. Like I want Trent, even though I don't think he can do better than $22 million based on one season, I don't want him to take the QO. I think the outfield is clogged currently. And with, Dominguez and the conversation around Spencer Jones, and if Belly comes back and Judge, like, Trent had one good season. It was his best career season ever. And I loved watching it. But then the guy didn't show up in the playoffs, right? We have too many guys who don't show up in the playoffs. And to me, like, don't take the QO. Please go somewhere else. Sayonara. That's how I feel about it. I don't think they even should have QO'd him, in my opinion, but it is what it is. With that being said, when we're keeping the conversation around the outfield to start out, I want the Yankees to re-sign Cody Bellinger. I want the Yankees to bring up Spencer Jones. And I want them to figure out what they're doing with Jason Dominguez. Because I have belief in Jason Dominguez. I'm not sure the New York Yankees have belief in Jason Dominguez, right? So either ride with him as your left fielder or trade him. That's kind of how I feel about it at this point. He's 22 years old. And as he started to finally make improvements in the big 2025 season, he got benched, right? Like we didn't get to see enough of him, in my opinion, for the Yankees to make a true decision. Now, with that being said, I would also like to see him mainly hit from the left side of the plate because he's just better at it. So, but that's my first want.
Yes, and you're checking off all my boxes too. I think we stick with Dominguez. I think let's go with what we know, even if what we know still needs development and improvement. There are guys that have been on this roster for season after season who need that. Every year we say it. So why would we take somebody who does have the grass under his feet for a good chunk of the season, who's this young and has shown that he could learn and grow and take that away? Why would we do that? Well, because that's the Yankee way. So we should expect it. But that, when we're looking at wants versus need, we don't need to replace Dominguez. Some of us might want to, but we don't need to. And I agree what you said, Ciarra. Stop confusing the guy. You can't develop a guy and confuse him. So, they're turning him into a switch hitter, to your point, and that's not necessary. And we were talking before we even jumped on, and it's so true, Ciarra, when you said, we were heavy for I don't remember when. This season we were particularly loaded with left-handers. So why, left batters? So yes, and Dominguez is much stronger statistically, even on with the lefty bat. So they'll win. They'll keep that. But just give him a steady course and roll in terms of his development, because he needs to grow. And if we're going to keep him and rely on him, the coaching staff needs to figure anything out much more than Dominguez does at this point, because he has been improving, and we've all seen it. It's not going to get any sort of award anytime soon, but let's go with what we know there. So I agree with you 100% about that. With Belly, I'm interested to see what the chat's saying. I think that people are split on this, and at least when you go on Twitter and cruise around. So I absolutely think Belly needs to be back, for not just what he has produced on both sides of his play, but also because he also is a utility person. We're going to get to first base on this list. I know that. So, let's keep Belly. He's a known entity. He has proven himself. He's good in the pinstripes. He knows how to wear them. And I really hope that they do what they need to do. And I haven't spoken to him lately, but I think he wants to stay a Yankee. So,
so the latest projection I saw from The Athletic was that Cody Bellinger is going to receive, or could receive, a 7-year contract for $182 million. Are you comfortable with that? If it were to land with the Yankees, are you comfortable with that kind of contract?
I am. Is Hal? That's the thing. I'm all for throwing money at guys with a proven track record with us. It almost never happens. And so I'd be good with it. What about you?
So I'm trying to do the math here. So the AAV for that would be what, $36.4 million? I don't know. So I want Bellinger back, right? But he's 30 years old. So 7 years might be pushing it. I think 5 would be okay. But also the AAV I think is too high for Brian Cashman because it's like 36 million-ish for an AAV. And he's trying to keep us under this self-imposed luxury tax, even though, like, and I understand when they go over the threshold, the Steve Cohen tax or whatever, they have to pay more. But the Yankees consistently make the most profit year in and year out. But this is where we see the difference between George and Hal. Like, Hal, this is a business for him. This is his source of income. George, this was a hobby, and he was willing to pay the money to win. So that's where we kind of see the difference. But I think the AAV might be a little too high if that were to be the final contract.
Right. And Boris is his agent, correct?
Correct. And if you remember right,
pay the final.
Correct. And if you remember right, Cody Bellinger was one of the 3 Boris clients 2 seasons ago who were left without a contract going into the season. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah. And Healing Men's has a really good point that, Boris is always going to be the greedy, but they're trying to get many years before the lockout, which is looming. And
because of the stupid Dodgers.
Yeah. So there is that, but absolutely, I'd like to see Belly back. I think that the chemistry in the outfield is solid. I also think if Aaron Judge still has the sway that he had that got us some players we wish we didn't get because of it, it would work in our favor because he relies on Belly, and he, if you notice, he gravitates towards Belly in between players, I should say. So I think that they have a thing going on. So like let's keep that going. I think Judge takes advice and really respects Belly. So maybe that'll give us a little bit of sway there.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing too that we have to just keep, in the back of our minds going into the remainder of this offseason is if I remember correctly, the Yankees have a committed payroll of $227 million for the 2026 season, and that's between like Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole, Rodon, Fried, like all the big names, and then everybody else, of course. And then they still owe DJ LeMahieu about $15 million. That luxury tax is $304. So we have to keep that in consideration, especially as we get further into the conversation of what we want versus what we need, because there are still some needs on this team. While Cody Bellinger should be the first priority, there are definitely some other needs as well.
Oh yes, and we should talk about what our respective priorities are, and it's certainly not the outfield because it was packed this season. It'll be packed in some ways this coming season. So let's go to some guys that we got later in the season that did solid for us. So what do we do with Caballero and Cabrera? I'm pivoting to the infield now. So what do we do about them?
So Cabrera's coming off of you're talking about broken ankle Cabrera, right? So he's coming off of an injury. I think he reverts back to his utility role coming off the bench, possibly, because you have, unfortunately, Ryan McMahon at third base. He is the better third base defender or better defender. I don't know why I said it like that. So, unfortunately, even though the guy can't hit the ball, that's kind of what we're stuck with. As far as Caballero, he will start the season at shortstop because Volpe tore his left labrum. He underwent surgery. That's about a 6 to 9 month recovery. Now, obviously, he's young, so he has that on his side. But he still isn't going to be ready come opening day. So it is Caballero's job to lose as the season starts, in my opinion. Like, if he can go out there and be better than Volpe, then I would just ride with him and make Volpe earn his job back once he comes back from that injury.
And if you were Brian Cashman, or if I were Brian Cashman, that's how it would go. My worry is that when Volpe gets back, even if he's limping, but the doctors write him off and say he's fine, he's going to be back. And then what with Caballero? That's what I worry about. But let's face it, he really was just like, first of all, his speed alone, his ability to grab those bases. He was number one in the MLB for stolen bases. I didn't realize that until I was getting ready for today. So I really just hope they stick to him, and I hope that he's such a phenomena that even Hal and Cashman are going to have to pay off whatever is, Volpe's hanging over their heads, because he's just been so solid, and yet fair enough that it's a small sample size. He walked from one dugout to another towards the end of the season. So
not for nothing. The Rays are good at developing players. They're just not good at signing them and keeping them long term and making it a winning team. But they're good at developing players. So ride with Caballero. I mean, he's going to start the season no matter what because Volpe is hurt. But ride with him for as long as you can. See what he has. He's young too. It's not like he's some 35-year-old busted up prospect. I think he's 25.
Yep. So I know you have some wants.
I lied. He's definitely 29. I thought he was much younger than that. I totally just lied to all of you.
Oh. Well, that works in our favor. He's older than you thought. So some other wants from you, Ciarra.
Listen, these are my wants, okay? This is as if I'm talking to Santa Claus, okay?
Right. It's not a need, it's your want. That's the whole point here.
I want Austin Wells off of this team. I want to trade with the Baltimore Orioles a 1-for-1 swap for Adley Rutschman. They both need to change the scenery. They both were bad in 2025, but Adley Rutschman, in my opinion, has the bigger upside. So make it happen.
Santa approves. What else, little girl? On paper, the Yankees have a good pitching staff, but they also had a good pitching staff on paper going into the 2025 season. I want another arm in the starting rotation because Garrett Cole is coming off of Tommy John surgery. We're not getting Clark Schmidt back until July, and he's coming off his second Tommy John surgery. Luis Gil, who the hell knows what's going to happen with him because he's injury prone now too. And then that leaves you with Max Fried and Carlos Rodon, who were great in 2025. But we can't expect them to be the entire rotation in 2026. I just think there's too many unknowns, in my opinion, and there's a lot of free agents on the pitching market right now. Zach Gallen, Dustin May, Corbin Burns. Go get somebody. We needed it at the deadline. We need it / want it now. That's all. To me, that is a big want, but also it's kind of a need as well. Absolutely. And we're going to get to needs in a second. And you're going to see that need pitching is big time on my mind. So let's say, so here's a question. What free agent, and there's a huge list of free agents. What free agent do you not want to sign? I'm going with two. I think one of them is going to be a lot of agreement, but I'm happy to be wrong about my prediction there. I don't want Doogie back. I really, the barking years are over. He went away for a reason. He needs to stay away for a reason. And this is the one that is going to be a little bit of a debate, or a big bit of a debate. And I do not want Alex Bregman. So as much as, and this is going to get us into the third base conversation. I get it, because it's a conversation we need to have, but I don't want what Bregman puts down. And this is more about his way and how he has shown himself to feel about the Yankees. I'm not even sure that he would come. But is he a Boris client? If he is. I mean, who is it? It would be the easier question. So, he'll get the money even out of Hal, but yes, two World Series under his belt. I get that too, but there's other possibilities than Bregman, so not so keen on him. So what about you with the free agency?
Well, I like Alex Bregman. I don't think he's even an option for the Yankees though, because he's opting out to get more money. But he is with his guy in Boston. He's with Alex Cora. I don't see Bregman going anywhere. Unfortunately for the Yankees, because he's a Yankee killer, and I just think he would be great for this team in my opinion. But we're stuck with McMahon, so it doesn't matter. Like McMahon was a cheap. He was cheap to get. He still has control. Like that is our third baseman moving forward, regardless of how you and I feel about it. With that being said, I don't want to see Paul Goldschmidt resign. I'm sorry, Goldie, it's time for you to retire, my guy. I don't want Rhys Hoskins to be signed at first base. Like that's just out of all the first base options out there, that is the one guy that I'm just like begging the Yankees not to get. And I'm going to get some hate for this, but I don't want Kyle Tucker. I don't want Kyle Tucker because you know why? Because he's going to cost too damn much. And because the only realistic opening the Yankees have in the outfield, going back to the Jason Dominguez conversation, is left field. Kyle Tucker has not really played left field. So I don't think it's fair to bring him over here and throw him into left field. That's just my personal opinion. Also, listen, I feel like he didn't have the greatest season in 2025, if we're being honest. He was streaky, and I don't know. He and Cody Bellinger did about the same in the playoffs, if we're being honest. So I again, back to the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And I would rather just resign Cody Bellinger and not sign Kyle Tucker.
And I feel like sometimes as fans, we because of the name, we assume that that's the best. And you just laid down the case for Tucker there, right? And so it's there are other names that aren't as well known that were surprises to us in a good way. Even if we just look at last season, what did I know about Grisham? Not much, but look what he did while he was here. Do I still want him? No, we've been through that already. But it's all I'm seeing are the big names, and that's natural, right? You're going to go with what you know or what you hear and what that team did that was better than the Yankees in recent memory. And I think I'm very open to surprises and having to do my research before I start throwing, shade and having a tantrum against Cashman. Although I'll probably do that regardless because it's in me. And he deserves it almost always. But let's not hang on to the Tucker notion because it's a name. His name is not what it used to be statistically, and we don't need even calculated risks at this point. We missed the World Series yet again, and we don't have that luxury. So, and healing. Listen, if that's true, come on. If we're not going to take Belly for the length of years, if we're having trouble with the years he's going to want, then this is even triply ridiculous.
So Kyle Tucker's 28 years old. He's not old. He's not young. He's kind of in the middle. Does he deserve a good contract? Absolutely. Just not in New York, in my opinion. He is. So the conversation before going into the 2025 season was that Kyle Tucker would be a rental for the Chicago Cubs, but that he would be seeking a Juan Soto type deal going into 2026. I don't think anybody should make a Juan Soto type deal, not even Juan Soto. I think that type of money for a baseball player is insane. I don't think anyone ever should have that type of contract. But that is my personal opinion. I just think some of these contracts are getting out of control. With that being said, best of luck to him wherever he goes. It just, to me, it's not going to be the Bronx. We even if he was the better option, Hal is not going to do that.
Right. And you know what Hal is not going to do, which is something that I do think we need, is he's not going to give us another starter arm. And you touched on this already, Ciarra, but I have some concerns still about Rodon and late in the season concerns about Fried that I'm relying on being an aberration. Again, that wart or blister or whatever plagued him into the postseason. So was he our ace? And we were so relieved, no pun intended, because of Cole being down. He stepped right in and gave us some breathing space. Rodon, I agree. Overall, the two of them were, God, Rodon, there's just no comparison. He was a new Rodon this season until he started sputtering a little bit towards the end. But that's just a small sample size I'm willing to forgive and forget about right now. But I don't think it's going to hurt us. And I've said this during the regular season because we don't know what Cole is going to look like at the start. So, and we just have to expect that regardless of who he is. And I'm looking at his bobblehead right now with his Cy Young trophy. Regardless of that, I just think that, yes, we should have a starter available. And Warren, to me, is still, he squeaked by, and was a little bit of a concern for me with some of the inconsistency. He absolutely belongs on the rotation, but don't we need somebody else in the wings at least? And maybe that comes from the farm. God forbid that someone should come up from the farm, but so not necessarily an acquisition, but I do think we have somebody there. Schlittler, nobody's touching Schlittler or they'll have to deal with me. That is just that's just that. I don't schmontract and all those things. I don't care. Schlittler's going nowhere. Yes, he threw a tantrum on Twitter, but look, you go after my family and game off, so I don't necessarily have a problem with him. It wasn't hubris. It was, F around and find out when you're talking about my family. So I give him grace there. But look, on the mound, he cannot go anywhere. And yet I still feel, and you made a great point. Another reason would be because, Schmidt is on a, tentative timetable and we don't know how that's going to play out. So, but if I had to choose between the starting and the bullpen number one. So we have a lot to fix there. The good news is that we got Tim Hill back, and we lost Loizaga, but is that really a loss? I personally don't think so. But we got to do something with that bullpen, and not just about who's the coach there. We got to do something about. First of all, it's going to be empty if Weaver and Williams, for example, ends up going, and Bednar just can't do it all. And we got, I think, Cruz in free agency as well, don't we? So like the guys that are, I'm pretty sure, but somebody will correct me. I just think the bullpen is a huge concern. That is my biggest need. It's not a want. I think that's a high key priority. So that's my want, my need. Okay, so what's your biggest need, Ciarra?
Yeah, sorry. The very tail end of that was breaking up, but I think that was on my end because it's snowing here.
Oh my God.
So the nice thing about Cam is he is safe. The nice thing about Cam is he is safe. He proved himself in the 2025 season, right? Like, especially in the playoffs, like he just went out and dominated while the rest of our pitching staff couldn't get it done. He, to me, is what the Yankees thought Luis Gil was going to be, right? Like Cam Schlittler is the future of your pitching staff, in my opinion. And and for me, it's time to move on from Will Warren. That experiment is done and over with. If you do see anybody come up for the starting rotation, I would think as far as bullpen, listen, while Williams turned it around towards the end of the season, he made his feeling, like, to me, he made his feelings about New York very clear. From the very first press conference, he didn't seem like he wanted to be a part of this team. So he can walk, he can move to another country for all I care. I would like to see Harrison Cohen promoted from AAA up to the bullpen. And then I don't know. They got to do something.
Yeah, the only little thing I'll say about Williams, and I am not team Williams at all, is that towards the end, he got some coaching, he got some talking to from Judge or whatever. His interviews were much more the Yankee way, and talking about the team and what the team is doing, and it was all team, but too little too late, and I think he should go and be happy somewhere else. So
I agree. And I think sorry.
Go ahead.
I think when it comes to Luke Weaver, so it just in general across baseball, relief pitchers usually have 2 to 3 years where they're good, and then they have a down year. Unfortunately for Luke Weaver, I think we're coming up on that down year. And I also don't think, because he's a free agent and the qualifying offer is $22 million, I don't think any closer, any relief pitcher in baseball is worth that type of money. And I just don't think, I just think it's time to move on from Weaver, unfortunately. And I agree with FJ. It's not the time to experiment and bring him in as a starting pitcher.
Right. We made that pivot with Schmidt and it paid off. I don't know that it's going to would pay off with Weaver. So especially since he hasn't been so stellar in the pen of late anyway. I'll miss his corny videos and his ways, his sense of humor, etc. But the Weaver experiment, I think, is over, and it hurts my heart. And good luck with somebody taking him on as a starter. But let's see what happens to him. But it's not going to happen with us. So I agree. So your other wants.
So I'm
mentioning your needs. Sorry.
This is in my opinion, this is one of our biggest needs. And I might, this might be controversial. I'm a big fan of Ben Rice, right? But I don't know where he fits on this team. To me, he's very much giving designated hitter, which we don't have room for, except for like if G is hurt going into the season or at some point in the season, because as much as I hate saying it, that's just the reality of who he is. Ben Rice slides into that. Aaron Boone has already come out and said that Ben Rice will catch maybe 16 games next season. So that leaves him with first base. I don't know if first base is where Ben Rice should be, because does he get the job done? Yes. But it's not fun to watch sometimes. Like sometimes you watch his footwork and it's only a matter of time until it just is ugly. With that being said, if he were to put in the work in the off season and go to like winter ball or whatever, wherever they can send him, I might reconsider. Now, with that being said, first base, there's a big first base market right now. And the two biggest names are Pete Alonso and Josh Naylor. Well, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know that I'm a big Pete Alonso fan. I actually don't think he's the answer to this solution, because for the same reason as Ben Rice, he's not a good defender. He's more of a DH. Josh Naylor, as much as I hate the guy, as much as we all hate the guy, I truly believe Josh Naylor could be the missing piece to the 2026 New York Yankees offense, both and defense. I don't know where that leaves Ben Rice. I think Brian Cashman keeps him because he said it last year going into the season, Giancarlo Stanton will be injured at some point. And as much as I hate that statement, he was correct. So right. I think you keep Ben Rice as your, I guess you keep him just for that reason. And he's your backup catcher and your backup first baseman. But I truly believe a first base should be a huge priority for this team moving forward.
Yeah. And, going back to your wants for a minute, if we were to get rid of Austin Wells, and I'm managing my expectations there because I just don't see that happening, then Ben Rice would be back in his quote natural position, and that would solve that. But that's a really big if, and most likely not happening. What else?
So for me, it's first base, catcher, bullpen, and figure out your outfield, because the outfield, like we said, it was clogged last year. It's going to be clogged this year. I think the Yankees, they made a mistake by offering doing a qualifying offer to Trent Grisham, because if he takes it, now you're on the hook for $22 million.
Yeah, big mistake.
And now your outfield's even more clogged, because we have to consider Spencer Jones. He just had his best career season in the minors. Strike rate was down, was absolutely raking. Like, what are you doing with this guy? And then you also have to look at Jason Dominguez. What are you doing with this guy? Like, these are two prospects that we've been talking about forever. You don't want to trade them, but you also don't want to play them. It reminds me a lot of Oswald Peraza. You held on to him until he wasn't worth anything. I disagree with you, Healing Men's Heart, because we're looking at a $227 million going into 2026, $15 million on top of that owed to DJ LeMahieu. I guess -5 from that because you're getting 10 back from Aaron Hicks because like we don't owe him anything anymore. So what's that put us at? $237 million. I'm doing this quickly and I'm not good at math, guys. That's $237 million. Okay. 304 is the tax threshold. You need to fix the bullpen because there is no bullpen. You need to get a first baseman. You need to starting pitcher, in my opinion, because right now you're relying on Rodon Fried, Cam Schlittler. You don't know what Garrett Cole is going to look like. You can't put an expectation on him at this point. And we don't know what's happening with Luis Gil. Clark is not going to be available until July. Like, we need an additional pitcher, in my opinion. So there's a lot of needs on this team. Like, yes, we continue to compete every year, but competing and winning are not the same thing. So I think that $22 million from Grisham would hurt the Yankees in the long run. And I also think it would also just hurt the outfield. It's too clogged. There's no room.
So a want is coming through the chat from both Healing Men and FJ, and it has to do with Kwan and trading Jones and Kwan in a package, Jones and Dominguez in a package for him.
I've seen a lot of Yankees fans want Stephen Kwan, and I'm on that train too. Is Cleveland even going to pick up the phone though?
Why would they let him go? It'd have to be big bucks, right?
Because when Cleveland let go of Andres Jimenez, I thought that was it. They were done, like they were blowing it up, but they weren't. They were still competitive in 2025, and they're always a thorn in the Yankee side if we're being honest.
Yeah,
Jose Ramirez is the guy that I would want from Cleveland personally, but like it's just not realistic. And I would like Stephen Kwan too. I just don't see it happening. It is going to be interesting, though, going into 2026, seeing how the Cleveland Guardians navigate their bullpen with all of the betting rumors and all their guys being in trouble for betting on their own team. That is going to be interesting. So let's see what happens.
Oh, yeah, there is that. Okay. So, and look, game's over, no pun intended, if J-Ram gets the MVP of the Year award. Just kidding. Oh, no spit taking. Sorry, Ciarra. I didn't mean to do that to you. All right. So just real quick, there will be spring training at some point at the end of this hot stove season. So the tentative schedule is out, just throwing it up on the screen in case you didn't see it. Doesn't really mean anything right now, but it's out if anyone wanted to see it. Just thought I would toss it up. And but we got so much that's going to be happening before we get there. I do have a question though. It's time to me. It's really early to ask this, and we don't even have to answer it right now. But when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I wonder who the invitees should be. Who should we be? Who do we really want that close look at? Who's going to be auditioning for the 40-man / 26-man? And all of those pieces, some of them are going to be falling into place based on the things we've just been discussing and what happens with some potential trades. Go ahead.
So for me, I already said his name, but I personally want to see Harrison Cohen get an invite. I want to see a closer look at him. He's 26 years old, so he's not getting any younger. He's a New York native. Born in New York, played in New York. Like, I thought we loved those type of stories here in the New York Yankees. Or is it only when they're from New Jersey? Am I getting this confused? Anyway, I want to see him. I want to see ERC. Because 6'3", like that's a big dude. I want to see that. I want to see TJ Rumfield. Like, maybe we give him a shot at first base if we're not going to go out and sign one, because remember the whole thing between Ben Rice and TJ Rumfield. Let's see what he can do. We've already seen Duke Ellis, so I really don't think we need to see him because, like, I don't know, man. But those are the guys I want to see. I want to see Cohen. I want to see ERC, and I want to see TJ Rumfield.
Okay, I think those are some good things we wanna be able to see. So This I think is going. This rumor mill is going to be spinning a lot faster. We're literally just stepping our toes into hot stove. The only rumor to really speak of that I found so far is about Bo Bichette, and it was Mark Feinsand that posted about the Yankees are potentially thinking about Bo Bichette this winter. So how would we feel about a Blue Jay? I'm already okay if his name's not Vladdy Jr. So, but let's talk about it. It's the only rumor we got right now.
I like Bo Bichette. I think he'd be great to add to this team. However, going into hot stove season and off season, I hate whenever I see somebody post such and such was linked to the Yankees, because I feel like they use the New York Yankee name to boost these free agents and push them elsewhere. And it's just like, I hate getting my hopes up at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, look at last season, we signed Cody Bellinger, and then it was like, we signed Cody, we signed Max, and then it was like crickets. Like, what is happening? What are we doing? So I just don't want to get my hopes up. That's all.
Right. And I agree with you, but it was the only thing I could raise right now. I think that speculation stuff is going to be flying in a couple of weeks. So promising prospects. I know you wanted to talk about Tejada.
I thought it was worth noting. So Emmanuel Tejada, infield prospect for the New York Yankees. He's currently playing in the Arizona Fall League. Remember when Caleb Durbin did that, and now he's out, raking in the NL and whatever. Yep. He on Tuesday, in a 21-14 win, he racked up 5 hits, 3 RBI, and 3 stolen bases. 3 of his hits came off of pitching that was over 100 miles per hour. Like, I thought that was worth mentioning because that's pretty impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. A name to start, paying a little bit of attention to. I'm calling out somebody that, I'm only calling out because he was the only prospect to be selected for the Fall Star games, which is tonight at 8:00, by the way, Eastern time. And his name is, he's a right-hand pitcher, Cade Smith. So he was the Yankees' number 19 prospect when he was drafted, and literally the only one from the farm in that Fall Star game. And we're the only team with only one person in the AL that's going to be in the game tonight. And what does that say about our farm? Because there's multiples from other teams in those lineups.
It says that we hold on to the wrong prospects.
Yes, ma'am. That's definitely one of the things it says. So quickly, in terms of arrivals and departures. So I think we already talked about Tim Hill is back. His option was picked up for the $3 million, well worth the money as far as I'm concerned. Second to Bednar, who was, at least when Bednar got here, he was the most consistent guy in the pen. So to me, that's a no doubt or no brainer. You agree about Hill?
I like Tim Hill. I think $3 million is chump change. I also think he's very consistent, and when used correctly, he is one of the better pitchers coming out of that bullpen. I think that's something else that going into 2026 is the Yankees need to manage the bullpen correctly, which also goes back to your starting pitching, though. And when everyone's injured, it hurts your bullpen. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I know we mentioned Weaver and Williams already, but Leiter is likely gone. And so the other one who's then packing is Johnny Loaizaga. So, and Loaizaga is the longest standing prospect, so to speak, from the Yankees. He's been with the organization since 2016, but goodbye, Johnny Lowe. He's out of here. And so now our new segment, which we're calling Dear Brian, and was the title of the show in the first place. So this is our fan mail to Brian Cashman as we head towards the 2026 season. So I want to say, here's my letter. Dear Brian, after 27 years as general manager, when are you going to learn to tell us the truth? Because you certainly have not learned how the real Yankee fans are. Real Yankee fans know the difference between poop and yummy cake. And you're doing nothing but having poop come out of your mouth. And nobody's buying your yabba dabber. It is boring. It is insulting. It is doing no one any good. Tell us the truth or tell us you don't have an update at this time. Do not gaslight. Do not promise. Because even if we might know that you're an empty promise guy, I can't think of anyone except resigning Judge at the moment where you came through in your 27 years, dear Brian. So start telling the truth and the real deal and start using actionable words, not a blanket statement about all the things you're gonna do. You're gonna make sure we are a competitive World Series team. Oh, really? Okay, that's breaking news. Wow, that is such a hallmark and such a unique idea, Brian. What other team wants to build a competitive team that's going to win the World Series? We really marvel at your just ability to think of something so unprecedented, Brian, dear Brian. Love, Lynn. Go ahead, Ciarra.
My dear Brian is a lot shorter than that.
I have a lot of. I'm all those emoticons. I'm all of them.
I'm just gonna say, dear Brian, stop trying to outsmart baseball. That is it.
Oh, I'll make my letter shorter. I'll make it a text message length. Oh, and here's FJ's. My letter is shorter. All right, guys, I get it. I'll have a shorter letter next time. It'll be a bulleted pointed memo, I promise. I like writing letters. So FJ's letter is shorter. Dear Brian, please resign. Yes. Yeah, I would send. Is there still such a thing as Western Union? That'd be a great cable. Yeah, I would send a telegram.
I think I'm in the minority here. I don't think Cashman's the problem. I think Hal Steinbrenner's the problem, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Yes, this one might change to Dear Hal at some points. We might pivot back and forth, but yeah, essentially the same things. And that's a sad truth here. I don't see them changing either. So unless we get rid of Cashman and Boone, and do any of us really see that world? I certainly don't. But that's just another story for another day. So listen, this has been a great return from a little hiatus. And okay, wait, but there's some, let's see. So, all right, Jordan's has Dear Brian and Hal. Yes, I will amend the slide. Dear Brian and Hal, actually go to town if you're going to say it. And FJ decided to write another short letter. You could have combined them and made me look a little bit better, FJ, but whatever. Dear Hal, where are you? Okay, yes, that's a really good question. And dear Hal, I wonder, are your trousers going to meet the top of your shoe this season when you're holding press conferences and interviews? So okay, anyway, you guys, all the guys in the chat, ladies in the chat, people in the chat, thank you so much for being with us, for coming back. We missed you, but during the hiatus, but we're ready to roll now until spring training and through spring training. So just know that here's our information there. You all know it if you follow us on Twitter. My handle changed, but I think those of you that are on Twitter figured that out already. And that's it. So have a really good week, Ciarra. Thank you as always. And you know what? Just do something between now and Sunday. And this is really specifically to Brian and Hal. Okay. But as always, see you next week with your reserve seat on the upper deck, and go Yankees.